This December will mark 30 years since Kathy Barnaik was last heard from. In the last 3 decades, many of her family and her friends have passed away as well. But a lieutenant at the Baker County Sheriff's Office wants to make sure that her case is not forgotten.
And he hopes by putting her case back in the spotlight, fresh tips will come in and lead to whoever killed the young woman and buried her under a bridge. Katie Jeffries has more in tonight's Unsolved.
Kathy Barnaik called her stepfather and told him that she was in Lake City and was on her way home to Jacksonville. But she never arrived, and it would be 18 months before her body would be found under a bridge in Baker County. December will mark 30 years since her disappearance, and investigators are taking another look at her murder. On the sides of 2 boxes of evidence, in permanent marker it reads her name, Kathy Barnaik. She was just 24 years old when she was reported missing by her family in December of 1991. In her last conversation, she told her stepfather she was at a truck stop in Lake City and was going to get a ride back to Jacksonville with 2 truck drivers.
That was the last time anyone had heard from her.
18 months later, on July 26 of 1993, 2 fishermen noticed stray dogs digging underneath an I-10 bridge near the Glen St. Mary exit, and they smelled the unmistakable odor of death. Buried in the ground, wrapped in garbage bags and stuffed into a duffel bag was Kathy's body. The cold case is now being reinvestigated by Lieutenant David Mancini with the Baker County Sheriff's Office.
Based on some of the evidence we had in the bag and at the scene, we don't believe that that's the spot where she was actually murdered. We believe that she was murdered somewhere else and put in the bag and brought there.
With the state Kathy's body was found in, the medical examiner could not determine a cause of death. Lieutenant Mancini says Kathy's family told the original investigators she struggled with narcotics and was known to hitchhike. She had 2 small children that had been removed from her care and adopted by other families. Friends told the original investigators that in December of 1991, Kathy had met a man that offered her a job to do some clerical work for his company in Lake City. But within a few days, it didn't work out, so she was looking to come back to Jacksonville.
They ruled him out as being a suspect. And so really he was the only person back then that they could look at. They interviewed several of her friends, family. They didn't have much to go on other than, it's possibly a truck driver.
In that last phone call from a truck stop, Kathy didn't provide any description of the truck drivers. Since reopening this case, Lieutenant Mancini says he has been looking at cases from all over the country from the early 90s that involve women known to hitchhike and whose bodies were found along interstates or under bridges, looking for similarities.
There was a lot at the time, and that's where I'm at.
He wants to hear from anyone that knew Kathy Barnaik in 1991, or any other law enforcement that thinks they have a case that sounds similar, whether it be solved or cold. It's a push to bring closure to a case before it is buried by time.
It is very sad that she is a victim that was almost forgotten.
If you know anything about the murder of Kathy Barnaik, contact the Baker County Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers. Katie Jeffries, First Coast News, on your side.